welcome to the Hoarder's Crafting Podcast episode 2. My name is Sasha and I'm coming to you from a town just outside of Birmingham in the West Midlands in the UK. It's currently very sunny outside. Cold, but sunny. And I have some progress to talk about today. I have 4 works in progress. 2 probably future cast-ons. I did a little bit of sort of project planning this week. And yeah, a couple of bits and pieces. I first want to talk about what I'm wearing. It is a jumper I knit about 2 years ago now. It's very oversized. The yarn grew a lot more than I was expecting when I blocked it. So instead of it being a nice, relaxed sort of 10 to 15 centimetres of positive ease, it currently has 35. I messed that up just a little bit. Anyway, on to my first work in progress, which actually has a lot of work done on it, even though I said I probably wouldn't do that much work on it. I ended up working on this from when I recorded last Wednesday. I need to remember to say the date at the beginning of these episodes. It is currently the 15th of January 2025 and it is approaching 11 o'clock in the morning. And my first work in progress, the first one I worked on, is my open work crocheted wrap. So I am crocheting this on a 4mm hook. I got these hooks off Amazon, I think when I started learning to crochet about 4 years ago. I don't know the brand of them, they're just the cheap Amazon hooks. And I have done quite a bit. I did put a progress keeper in when I worked on this last. It's got a little owl. I think the owl came from a set of Harry Potter stitch markers I bought. So I think that's probably Hedwig. But I had that much done last time and I have since doubled the length of it, more than doubled actually. So I ended up working on this while editing the last video and then just continued working on it. So it's got quite a bit of progress done on it. I haven't actually picked this up since Saturday, but yeah. So the yarn I'm using is a mystery lace weight that I picked up from the stash swap section at Wool at Junction 13. I think 2 years ago now? Yes, it must have been 2 years ago because I didn't go last year. But, let's just get that done. But you might be able to see it seems to have shrunk. This yarn seems to go on forever. And this is the Hobbii Diablo Glitter Mohair. It's 37% acrylic, 31% polyamide, 28% mohair and 4% polyester, which probably explains why I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm not the biggest lover of acrylic. It has its place in the market, I'm not going to say it doesn't. I'm just personally not a fan of it. She says wearing an 80% acrylic jumper that she made a few years back. But yeah, it's going well. I'm happy with it. Like I said, it's not a big priority. I don't know when this will get finished. I don't know if I'll pick this up again this week or if it'll just sit waiting for me to be in the mood for it. Either way, I'm not going to force myself to work on it if I don't feel like working on it. And yeah, it just lives next to my knitting corner in a bag, and if I decide to pick it up, I pick it up. If I decide not to pick it up, I don't pick it up. It's quite simple. I don't want to overthink my knitting too much, or crocheting, crafting. This is in a bag that I made when I was experimenting with my new sewing machine. It's just a Snow White fat quarter set and some leftover purple fabric to make up the lining. And I actually turned it out correctly, so there's no bump on the outside this time. But yeah, that is whip number 1. Whip number 2 also saw quite a bit of work, although it is now going to be sat for quite a while because I have to wait for the yarn to arrive from Canada. Which, funny story, I forgot to give my friend the shipping address. He still had my old address. Thankfully he'd realised we'd moved, so he hadn't actually sent it. And when I spoke to him on the weekend, he was like, I kind of need your address. So, it's currently still sat in his office. But, yeah, I was there on this jumper last time. So this is my freehand, self-drafted drop shoulder jumper made with the Caron Latte cakes, which I picked up when I visited Toronto last year. It is the colourway Velvet Teal. It's a bulky weight yarn, and I am making this on 6mm needles. I am using my Knit Pro Zing interchangeable set for these, and I have, so I was there last time, I was just about to split for the front and back panels. I have finished the back with the stitches on hold ready for the neckline, and I have got up to the splitting for the shoulders on the front. You might be able to see the line there where I picked it up, and I am most of the way up the left shoulder, and then I kind of ran out of yarn. I could probably get another row out of this. I just don't want to risk having too small of a tail and then my needles coming out and it unravelling. So yeah, it's going well. I still absolutely love this yarn. It is a acrylic and nylon blend. It is very fuzzy, very, very soft. I'm looking forward to wearing this. Kind of disappointed I probably won't get to wear this winter, but it's fine, I'll wear it next winter. So yeah, it's coming along quite well. My progress keeper that I put in last time is a Wonderwool, the Wonderwool tag from, well, I bought some stitch markers from a stall when I went to Wonderwool Wales last year, and they were giving these away with purchases. And the stitch markers I bought, I know there's one on here, where's these cute little llamas? Or alpacas? I think they're llamas. I think the guy said they were llamas. Although alpacas would probably make more sense. But yeah, I worked away on this. I'm actually quite surprised how quickly it works up. I mean, I shouldn't be, it's 6mm needles, but when you're used to working on like 2 to 4mm needles at a relatively tight gauge, working at quite a relatively loose 6mm gauge is, yeah, it works up surprisingly fast. But that's the progress on this one. You probably won't see this for a while until I get the yarn, because I can't make any progress on it until I get the yarn, so. Yeah, once again, this is still sat in my yarn extravaganza bag from last year. But I'm very happy with the progress on this. It's so soft. I'm so excited to wear it and so disappointed I won't get to yet. But yeah, I'm happy with the progress. It's worked up quite well. And then my next work in progress, which I actually did pick up, was my Elizabeth I jumper. The front panel hasn't actually seen any progress though. So last year I went to the Christmas Wool Festival here in Birmingham at the NCC, and I picked up a 3mm fixed circular. Except I picked up the wrong size and it's only a 40cm long needle, which would not fit the front panel on even though I started the decreases. So I have ordered a longer fixed circular so that I can work on the front panel. But since I had this shorter 3mm, I ended up starting on a sleeve. So this pattern is the Elizabeth I jumper by Alice Starmore from her Tudor Roses book. And it's using the called for yarn. I'm using the Virtual Yarns Hebridean 2-ply in the colorway Kaluna, I believe. It's a 100% wool yarn. It's not the softest, but I quite like that. I do like the slight bite of actual wool. It's not superwash. It's just a natural non-superwash wool. And yeah, I have finished the cuff knit purl pattern. I don't know how well that's coming out. And the curved shaping for the, she says curved hem, but I'd say it was curved cuff shaping. And I need to do the setup row for the dart shaping. And then just pretty much just knitting up the sleeve until you get to the shaping for the like shoulder cap bit. And occasionally working a dart decrease. So I'm happy I'm working on this again. I'm hoping I can get quite a bit done on this week. We shall see. But, so I think I picked that up on Sunday evening. So yeah, it's not a ton of progress. It was a lot of concentrating with the knit purl pattern and then the short row shaping, but it's definitely worth it. If you're thinking of trying the Alice Starmore patterns, any of her amazing beautiful patterns, this is probably a good one to start with. It's relatively simple compared to some of the others. There's no colour work, it's a lot of, well, there's lace and there's cables when you get to the front part, but it's quite a nice pattern and it's well written. My only complaint is that it's not size inclusive. There is only 4 sizes, which for quite a well-established designer, I'm a little bit disappointed in. I would have expected at least 7 sizes, if not more, but I didn't realise that when I got given the book. So, and it's a pattern I like, it's a pattern I wanted, and I got given the yarn to make it anyway, so. But my only complaint with the Alice Starmore patterns is they are not size inclusive, which, if it was a new designer, wouldn't bother me as much, but she's quite a well-established designer. So, take from that what you will. I recommend the patterns, but if you're very much into size inclusivity, this probably is not designer for you. And then my last active whip that I've worked on this week is actually a new cast on. It's in my other bag that I made the one that I messed up, so it's got a wonderful bump on the bottom. And it is my Halloween gift socks for a friend of mine. I am through the cuff and the leg. I have completed the heel flap and the heel turn, and I'm now about halfway through the gusset stitches. I kind of messed up this ever so slightly, not the pattern or any of that, but I cast this on Saturday evening at about 8 o'clock. I went to the cinema Saturday daytime. This should have been cast on Friday night so that I had some knitting for the cinema. Oh well. But yeah. So this is using the Hobbii Halloween sock. I got it wrong in the last episode. These are not the scary sock. This is the shocking sock. And I am knitting these on a 2.75 short circular. I think they're 9-inch. And yeah. I like the ones with where the right needle is long and the left is short. I just find it easier. It's how I like to knit my socks. And yeah, I did 68 stitches for this one because my friend informed me he has slightly wider feet than average, so yep. He knows he's getting these because he actually watched this, so yeah, 25 rounds for the cuff, 60 rounds for the leg, heel flap, gusset, just slowly working away on it. Slowly, she says. Yeah. I always find the first sock will fly off the needles very quickly, and then the second sock, even though I don't really get second sock syndrome, the second sock seems to take about a week compared to like 4 days for the first one. But yeah, this has sort of been my on the go, taking it out and about knitting. I did work on this a little bit last night once I'd finished the short row shaping on the cuff of my Elizabeth jumper. But yeah, it's got these beautiful sort of grey to black, not quite fade, and then the quite bright orange. It's very nice, kind of traditional Halloween colours. And I don't know what else to say on that really. I've worked on it slowly, steadily. Yeah. But I just wish I'd had these to take with me to the cinema. I went to see the Nosferatu movie. And yeah, mini movie review. It was good. I'd recommend it if you're into sort of atmospheric horror movies. Yeah. If you're wondering, I'm team salty popcorn. And yes, I did eat an entire thing of salted popcorn because I had nothing to keep my hands busy. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that really. And so over this last week I did do a little bit of project planning. When I say project planning, I mostly mean putting yarns into project bags with the needles as an incentive to cast them on next. I did two ready to go. They're not big projects, they're sort of small on the go projects realistically, so they might not get cast on until I finish the other pair of socks. It depends what mood I'm in really. But my first one is in this bag. It's one I made myself. It is not that very well made. It has a lot of messy seams and some stitching coming undone on the inside. But this was the second one I made. I was just playing around with different techniques, testing stuff, and ended up just slapping the two panels together, sewing them and going, yeah, that works. It's only for me. But this next one is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. It is the Mallard colourway, so it's another one of the bird yarns. I picked this out, I think in July of last year, to make a pair of socks for my other half. It's a bit of an insider joke with this one. He likes ducks, and Mallard being a duck, he has multiple duck statues sat on his desk staring at him. So I'm going to make him a pair of socks using this. I have a different set of needles here because my other needles are taken with the other pair of socks. I've only got one pair of my preferred 2.75mm needles, but I do have these ones, the Knit Pro Novas. They're just silver, both are the same length, which I do find slightly awkward when it comes to knitting socks. But yeah, that's the yarn. So there's some blues and greens and browns in there, and it is a 75-25 base, so just a standard sock yarn really. It's got 400 metres per 100 grams, and yeah, bit of planning. This one also has a 35% blue-faced Leicester within the wool content, which is quite nice. It does make it quite a sturdy yarn. I do very much like blue-faced Leicester. I have a mini shawl knitted in 100% blue-faced Leicester, and it is very nice. It's quite warm, it's hardy, and the stitch definition is just chef's kiss. And the last project I have planned is in this lovely bag that I brought at a anime and gaming con I went to with my sister last year, I think. It is this amazing Spirited Away fabric, and the maker of this is That's So Becky. So I don't know if that's going to show up very well. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to find a project bag when I went to an anime and gaming convention con thing at the cricket grounds in Edgbaston. But I did, and I'm quite happy. So these are the needles I will be using. They're my Knit Pro Zings 2.5 with the long and the short. But these are not going to be socks. No, 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 no. And the yarn, which I matched amazingly well to the bag, is this beautiful kind of neon pink and black yarn by Attic Spin Dye. It is their Rocker Bunny Fabulous colourway. I won't show you the back because it's got the price on it, and nobody needs to know how much I spend on yarn. Nobody needs to know how much anybody spends on yarn. That's their own private business. But yeah, it's a 75-25 base, and I'm going to make myself some fingerless mitts or fingerless gloves. Probably going to make them so they kind of come up to my elbow. As I mentioned in the last video, I'm quite a cold person. I tend to layer up quite a lot when I go out, so it would be nice to have these on the days I've got a short sleeve t-shirt under my jumper or cardigan. So yeah, I am very much looking forward to them. I do quite like the Attic Spin Dye yarns. This will be their second one I've worked with. I have also made a pair of socks using a different one of their Rocket Bunny collection, which get worn a lot. And that's it. That's all my whips, all my future projects. I don't know if I'll cast those on this week. I might not, or I might only cast the one on. But a bit of planning never hurts anybody. It's sort of good to have something ready to go. At least I find it's nice to have something ready to go. That way then, if there's nothing for me to work on, or there's nothing I'm in the mood to work on, I can just grab and go rather than go, oh, I've got a plan. Because sometimes you get home and you just don't want to think about it. You just want to grab and go, or grab and start watching the telly. So, yeah. That's kind of it, really. I know some people do sort of reading and watching and life stuff. I'm not really going to do life stuff, at least not at this point. I don't really watch that much. I tend to watch a lot of YouTube, a lot of history, true crime and knitting tubes. I'm a bit of a Tudor history buff. I really, really like my Tudor history. And I have started trying to pick up reading again. I mentioned this to my mother when I visited for Christmas, and she went, oh, in that case, here, have 15 books by my favourite author. So I've got quite a lot of reading to get through. But I have started reading Those in Peril by Wilbur Smith. And I probably should have brought the book over, but it's currently sat over there. Eventually I'll get to the point where I actually bring everything over so I can show you everything. I don't know if I mentioned, I did make some show notes to make it easier. This was also my second attempt at recording this because apparently I forgot to hit record. But yeah, I have show notes to help me because if you noticed in the last video I had a lot of added text from where I forgot to add stuff. Yeah. Oh, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Yarn Hoarder Crafting Podcast, and hope to see you next time. Bye guys!